Hello everyone, and on this episode of Mrs. Mess Hall, we're going to be making Sriracha pork chops with fried rice and garlic green beans. It's to die for, let me tell you, it's so good. So to get started, we're going to start with our marinade, and you want your pork chops to marinate for at least 45 minutes. We're going to start with some sriracha, sesame oil, honey, and some hoisin sauce, and you want to mix that all together really well. Make sure it's completely blended, and then you're just going to want to lather your pork chops in it and let it sit, like I said, for at least 45 minutes. You want to develop that flavor. I'm using bone-in pork chops, but boneless work just as fine. Now we're going to pop 2 cups of rice in the oven with 2.5 cups of water, and that'll bake for 45 minutes. So as our rice is baking, we're going to get some of our prep done. So we're going to small dice half of an onion. So as you can see here, I first do slices horizontally and then vertically. And then when I go to chop the length of the onion, they're already diced. So it really limits the amount of work you have to do and limits the amount of time you're spending dicing an onion. So I'm just going to crack and scramble 1 egg and set that aside for when we put together our fried rice. Next, I take a pound of green beans and I'm just going to cut them on a bias, and we'll set those aside for later. So now I washed 2 mushrooms and I cut these in half, and I'm just going to thinly slice them along the length of them. Mushrooms are a really watery vegetable, so the thinner that you slice them, the faster they'll cook and the faster they'll sear. Now we're going to peel and mince 3 cloves of garlic. And I find when you smash garlic just a little, it makes peeling it a lot easier because it breaks the skin. So the skin just ends up popping right off. Then I'm going to crush it significantly harder, and this will make it flatter and easier to start mincing. And you want it really finely minced. So our rice should be done, so we're just going to pull that out of the oven and fluff it so it doesn't get all stuck together. Then we're going to get out a big saute pan, and I'm just going to coat it in olive oil. And you don't want it to get too hot because you don't want your onions to burn as soon as you put them in. You want your oil to run in ribbons. Then we're going to saute them just until they're translucent and add some peas and carrots. And once those are just getting warm, we're going to add our egg and go ahead and scramble that in the pan. And once that egg's cooked up really nicely, we're going to go ahead and remove both the egg and the vegetables from the pan. And we're going to again coat it in some olive oil and add our rice to the pan. So you want to flatten it out and get a nice even layer, and then we're going to add 4 tablespoons of butter and of course salt and pepper. We got to have some flavor in this. Then once our rice is decently fried, we're going to go ahead and add back our vegetables and our eggs and mix that all together and let our rice fry just a little bit more, and then add our soy sauce. Once our rice is done, I just went ahead and removed it from the pan and used the same one, and I went ahead and started browning our mushrooms. And once our mushrooms are browned, then you're going to add the garlic. Garlic cooks a lot faster than most vegetables, so you don't want to add it too early, otherwise it'll brown and burn, and you cannot get the taste of burnt garlic out of anything. You're just going to have to start completely over. So then we're going to add our red pepper flakes and our green beans, and then I went ahead and added just half a cup of vegetable stock to help get the green beans cooking a little faster. And once our green beans are done, again in the same pan, we're gonna go ahead and add some olive oil. I went ahead and just added a little bit more than before this time, just to really ensure that we get a good sear on these pork chops. And I mean, you can see how hot that pan is with that smoke in there. Then once our pan, is really hot, we're gonna go ahead and add in our pork chops. And don't be afraid. I know the oil's splattering around, but you just gotta get in there. I have a really long pair of tongs, in order to keep the splatter off of you. But the hotter your pan, the better your sear on your pork chops are. I mean, like, look at that. That is to die for. All right, now that our pork chops are done, we're just gonna go ahead and pull them out and let them rest on a cutting board before we're slicing them. And then you can just plate. So I served this on top of the fried rice, and I just went ahead and drizzled a little bit more hoisin sauce to get some sweetness in with these spicy pork chops. And let me tell you, this was one of my favorite dinners. Thank you for watching my video. If you enjoyed this video, check out my YouTube channel and subscribe for, more videos and how-to for some easy, different dinners.